complex, much too complex, too complex, much too complex, too complex, too complex, too complex.
So glad you could join us for Mugshot Monday Review. Remember, this is the opportunity for you to get to see the sentences that your child had to read and correct on Monday. First, we gave them the opportunity to read and correct on their own, and then we all came together for a whole group discussion. This is beneficial for you because you get the opportunity to hear what your child is hearing in class. And you also have a resource at your fingertips just in case your child did not quite understand the corrections that he or she heard on Monday. So let's get right to it. But first, let me challenge you to write the sentence down once it's up on the screen. Let me challenge you to write that sentence down. Try to correct it before I actually walk you through it. All right, let's get started. Turning my camera around here, getting a good shot of the screen. All right, that looks good. Okay, so I'm going to hush for the next 5 or 6 seconds and let you read the sentence yourself. Okay, the sentences say, the cracked windshield, along with the ripped upholstery and rusty body, made Eric's car near impossible to sell. Sally, I need you to sit still while I trim your bangs, Sophia ordered. All right, let's start with this sentence here. Let's forget about that one right now. Let's look at this sentence. All right, there are several things wrong with this sentence. There, I see misspelled words. I see that there's a comma missing. And there's also an apostrophe that needs to be in place. So let's start with the first misspelled word. The first misspelled word is windshield. And there's a lovely little rule to help me identify that windshield is spelled wrong. I think you heard it before. I before E except after C. Now, what does that mean? That means that when you see a word that have these two vowels in it, that the I should come first. The I should come before the E. Except when the letter is a C. The letter that comes before the two vowels is a C. In this case, is H. So we automatically know that the I and the E here should be reversed or swapped. So the cracked windshield, windshield. That's the first thing we see wrong here. Now, the second thing is there should be a comma behind windshield. How do I know that? Well, first of all, the way we read it indicates that there should be a comma there. The cracked windshield, along with the ripped upholstery and rusty body, made Eric's car near impossible to sell. Did you hear that natural pause right there behind windshield and right before made? That's because along with the ripped upholstery and rusty body, that phrase is a prepositional phrase that is serving as additional information. If I took along with the ripped upholstery and rusty body out of the sentence would still make perfect sense. It would still be a complete sentence with a subject, a predicate, and it being a complete thought, which are the components of a sentence. The cracked windshield made Eric's car near impossible to sell. So you can understand that the comma, that additional information should be offset by commas. Okay, the next thing we see here is that Eric's name, there's something missing from Eric's name. Because there aren't two Erics, and we looked at it like this, that would mean there's more than one Eric. No, actually, this is showing ownership. This is meant to show ownership. So there should be an apostrophe behind the C and before the S. All right, there's still something that's not quite right. As I'm reading this, made Eric's car near impossible to sell. If left like this, near sounds like it's standing close to impossible. That's what it sounds like. When the thing that we're really trying to communicate here is that the car was almost impossible to sell. In order for us to do that, we would have to put ly on nearly and make it an adverb. Why? Because both of these are adverbs that modify sale. How impossible was this car to sell? Nearly impossible. Now let me remind you that an adverb tells when, where, to what extent, and it's sometimes it has an ly on the end, which is the case here. But the other thing is that it modifies or describes other adverbs, verbs, and adjectives. Now, around about the fourth or the fifth grade, you probably learned that adverbs modify verbs. That's, kind of, um, it's almost understandable since it's called an adverb. But adverbs are unique in that they modify or describe other adverbs and also adjectives. And in this case, impossible is an adverb modifying sell, and nearly is an adverb modifying impossible. Okay, there's one more thing wrong with this sentence. One more thing. The word sale, S-A-L-E, should be sell, S-E-L-L. Because if left like this would mean that the price is reduced, and that's not what we're trying to communicate. Let's look at our next slide. There we go. There is the sentence with all of its corrections and in all its glory. So you see that? There's the windshield spelled correctly. There's a comma behind windshield and a comma behind body, setting that additional information off. Eric's name now shows ownership. This adverb is really an adverb with the ly added there. And there is the correct spelling of sale. Okay? Now, draw your eyes down here to the second sentence. Sally, I need you to sit still while I trim your bangs, Sophia ordered. The first thing that I notice right off is that this part says Sophia ordered. That means that someone is speaking in this sentence. And when we have dialogue, because that's what speaking is, when we have written dialogue, the author has to show that something is being said by putting quotation marks around whatever is being said. So that means that Sophia ordered Sally, I need you to sit while I trim your bangs. So that means that our first set of quotation marks would go right here in front of Sally, and the next set would go right behind bangs. Excuse me. All right. So that's the first thing. We have some dialogue here, and so it has to be enclosed. The dialogue has to be enclosed with quotation marks. Also, what Sophia said, Sally, I need you to sit still while I trim your bangs. Did you hear that natural pause right here? There should be a comma behind Sally because that's introductory information. Again, I could take Sally off. I need you to sit still while I trim your bangs, and that would be a complete sentence. And so it has to be offset by a comma. All right, now there's one more comma missing, and it should go right here behind bangs. And why is that the case? I'm going to go straight to the second video so you can see, a second slide so you can see it. All right, why is there a comma here? There's a comma here because the author wrote this entire sentence. And that comma right there indicates that there is something left in the author's sentence. And so while everything that Sophia said is in quotation marks, the author's sentence is not done yet, and it doesn't end until you see an ending mark. All right? And so here, I told the students, if you can count to 5, then you can write dialogue correctly. What do I mean? All right, so let's start with 1. When we have a sentence that's dialogue, and we want to indicate that it's dialogue, we would put quotation marks 1 at the start of the sentence. So we've counted to 1. Next, we would enclose the entire saying with another set of quotation marks, 2, because we don't want to leave our saying hanging out there. It must be enclosed with quotation marks. 3, after quotation marks, after the first set of quotation marks, there must be a capital letter, 4. And here, there must be some type of punctuation. In this case, it's a comma because the author's sentence is not done, period. But there are times when this comma could change to another piece of punctuation. So that's why I said a type of punctuation instead of just indicating a comma. All right, so what's the scenario that would cause this comma to change? Glad you asked. If what Sophia said was a question, then a question mark would go inside of the quotation marks because the author is trying to indicate that a question has been said or stated. If it was an exclamatory sentence, then this would turn into an exclamation mark because, again, the author would be trying to indicate that something is being said with excitement or feeling. Now, here's your catch. This period would still be there because the author's sentence is not done. Although the person speaking, and although their sentence might be complete here, the author's sentence is not done, and that still requires punctuation. So if you can count to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and end with some type of punctuation, 5. All right? And that's it. That's this week's mugshot corrections. I advise you, if I went too fast, you can go back, because I have a tendency to talk fast. So you can go back and review the sentences at your leisure. So here we go. Here is the entire thing all fixed up. The correct punctuation, showing ownership, correct spelling. Oh no, I forgot one more thing. Let's go back. Here, let's go all the way back. Here is a mistake as well. Sally, I need you to sit still while I trim your bangs. This is the wrong spelling for your. If left as is, this would read you are bangs. So we did correct that. It should be Y-O-U-R, bangs. All right? So again, here is the entire thing fixed up. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again next week.